We did move to Liberia expecting to work kind of in anonymity, and that's what we expected our career, our life's work to be. And now we're scheduling meetings with reporters and going on a book tour, and we, like you mentioned earlier, we have an agent. All of those things are totally foreign to the life we knew before I got sick and to the life we expected to live.
But when he was first feeling bad on Wednesday, he didn't call me till Thursday. But he didn't get his positive test result until Saturday. So I knew he was feeling bad starting on Thursday, and that he was getting sick and waiting for his test result on Saturday. But just as soon as you were told, you called me to tell me he had Ebola.
The time I waited is when I started feeling bad and I didn't have a test result to give her. And I said, let's wait until that first test comes back, and then I'll be able to tell her, don't worry, I don't have Ebola, it's negative.
Yeah.
And that's what I did, but then we had to wait another...
Still had to wait 3 days of quarantine to verify that result, right?
Yeah. There are a lot of details that I don't remember. Things that I have some memories that are very clear. Things I remember very clearly. I remember John Fankhauser staying beside my bed as Lance Plyler stood outside my window and told me that I had Ebola. I was very, very sick. People who go through any kind of critical illness like that, it's common to not be able to recall all the details during your illness, and that's been my experience. I feel great. I think it was around Christmas time that I finally felt like I had recovered fully, that I was back to normal. I felt like the decision to give Nancy the Z-Map instead of taking it myself, it was a decision based on logic and reason and medical decision making. And I think I kept my doctor hat on even when I was a patient. I think my caregivers will tell you that I tried to. Doctors don't make very good patients.
You dictated everything.
And I am no exception to that rule. And so they said, okay, we have one course of treatment. We've been instructed not to split it up. And I said, I think Nancy is in greater need of it than I am. She's older, she's sicker, and I thought the best decision is to give it to Nancy, if we can only give it to one of us. It wasn't the heroic self-sacrifice that people made it out to be. And in the end, I did receive it first, even before Nancy did. When my doctors said, look, you're going to be evacuated to Emory, you may be able to receive subsequent doses there if it's available. So let's give you the first dose because you're about to die. And that word compassion in our English language, it comes from the Latin. It comes from two different words in Latin that mean to suffer with. And that is different than sympathy or feeling sorry for. And you really desire to enter into the suffering of someone, it moves you to action. So it's not just a feeling or a thought. It has to be lived out. And that, we are not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. And there are plenty of days where we do not act out of compassion. But our goal, our desire for our lives is to live lives that are where the decisions we make, the things we do, the vocation we pursue comes from a place of compassion, of desiring to enter into the suffering of others, to bring them help and assistance and hope, and that's who we want to be on our best days. And I try to remind people every chance I get of what is still going on in West Africa. It's very important for us to remember that this outbreak is not over. Just last week, there were 30 new cases in West Africa, in Guinea, Sierra Leone, and in Liberia. So Liberia was declared Ebola free on May 9th. They had had 42 days of no new cases, and May 9th marked their declaration of Ebola free by WHO. And on the 28th of June, there was a new case diagnosed, and now there are a total of, I believe, 7 cases in Liberia. And Guinea and Sierra Leone continue to have between 20 and 30 new cases every week between the two countries. So the world seems to have moved on to other issues and news topics, but this outbreak that was on the headlines a year ago is still ongoing. People are still dying, and people are still struggling and working and fighting against this outbreak, and we need to remind our own country and the world of our role in this fight.